I wash my soul in the ocean, in the tears of God, I let it go.
Welcome to your 2021 video horoscopes with me, Lada from Astrolada. Thank you so much for choosing me to be astrologer for you for the year 2021. And what can I say? Just a quick summary. I'm delighted to say that 2021 will be way easier than 2020. You remember 2020, if you saw the videos that I created for 2020, I warned everyone this will be one of the toughest year ahead. For 2021, the action is moving from the cardinal signs like Aries, Capricorn, Cancer, and Libra, who had it the hardest, whether it was their ascendant, sun, or moon in 2020. It's moving to the fixed signs, which is Taurus, Leo, Aquarius, and Scorpio. And when I say action, it means they'll have life-changing events. They'll have something that takes them to the next level. But passing from one level to the other is always a bit more difficult. Especially fixed signs, they don't like changes so much. But again, it will be, I promise 2021 will be way easier generally for the world and each one of us. Just a few people will be a little bit more tested. And 2021 is when a new age for humanity starts, generally speaking. This is when Saturn and Jupiter start their new cycle for the first time in almost 800 years in an air sign. I mean, they kickstart this 200-year period. They met in the 80s in an air sign, but the last time they met in Aquarius was 1226, something like that, 800 years ago. So we'll start a brand new life, brand new era for humanity. You can check out my video, which is for free on YouTube, about the year 2021. For the whole world, there is new hope. Aquarius energy is coming in. There is a new hope for humanity, new future. Life will start splitting into society will start splitting into, not in a bad way, but in a way that instead of fighting and not seeing eye to eye, it will separate somehow. There will be people that want to live alternatively and people that want to follow the normal rules. But anyway, let's get back to you because those horoscopes are specific for you. So let me tell you what you need for those horoscopes in order to work for you. You need to find out your sun, moon, and ascendant signs. I want you to check all three of them. If you can't afford to buy all three, just listen to your ascendant sign at least. But you need to know your time of birth to listen to the ascendant sign. And you need to know the degree as well. And if you have time to watch all three videos, the ascendant, sun, and moon, then listen to the specific degrees when I speak about the moon and the sun especially. For the ascendant, pay attention to everything, the houses, whatever. For the sun and moon, especially pay attention if I mention your specific day of birth, if it's the sun, or the degree of the moon as well. The houses can also be relevant. Who will be affected most? Everyone feels affected by the ascendant sign, but you need to be very correct with your time of birth. Like if your mom told you between 2 and 3 o'clock, no, it's like you need 2:34. For example, p.m. And within 2-3 minutes at least to have your correct time, or 5 at most. So listen to your ascendant sign and the degree, start with it. Then listen to your sun sign. And of course, with the sun sign, you just know which day you're born, but you can check the degree as well. Listen to your moon sign. If you're born during the day, which means before the sun set, while the sun was above the horizon, the sun sign is very important for you because the sun becomes your ruling light. If you're born at night, like I am, when the sun has set, you have to find out what day the sun set on the day you were born and rose, so when you know your time of birth, whether it was day or night. So if you're born at night, the moon, it will be very important for you because the moon becomes your queen, the light. So but I would advise, listen to three of those: ascendant, sun, and moon. If you're a woman, the moon sign is usually very important. If you're a man, the sun sign is usually very important. If you're a woman in a competitive career or who has her own business or who is very much into her career, the sun sign becomes very important because the sun sign is our goals, is our masculine side, taking decisions. Let me tell you what the difference, the subtle differences between listening to your ascendant, sun, and moon is. With the ascendant, it is the physical body and your fated events. They're kind of pre-recorded for you. You really see the ascendant sign in when you, if you have your correct time of birth, you would see it as basically as events that materialize, that are happen around you, and they've been already, usually they're like preset somehow. They're set in stone. The ascendant is the most material aspect of the whole horoscope. It's kind of like our path, our destiny, whatever you want to say, the destiny of the soul. It's a little bit, we still have free will to some extent, but the ascendant is one of the most set ones. So you'd see very material manifestations with the ascendant sign. With the moon sign, the moon is the soul and the feelings. So a lot of women, because women are more connected with their feelings, tend to actually resonate a lot with their moon sign. And they're like, yes, those things for the ascendant sign are happening, but what really, where my whole heart is and where my whole attention has been and where my whole excitement has been and my focus or pain or sadness, whatever, has been as per the moon sign prediction. So do check it out. While the sun sign is, and the moon sign is, again, the moon is connected to the past, so it's a little bit more karmic. It's something that has been maybe programmed for the soul before our birth, type of thing. While the sun sign is the spirit, where we have the most free will. And with the sun sign, people often resonate when they listen to their sun sign. They say, wow, it's so correct. Especially people, the more self-sufficient and independent you are, the more and how do I say, the more it's the sun is where we have the free will power. And this is where we can influence the sun sign prediction, the events, the most. And this is what usually our goals, our dreams are about. The sun is like this ideal of the spirit where you want to reach, something that feeds your spirit, so to speak. So that's why a lot of people, especially in the West or in more, where people have more free will generally in countries like that, to determine their life, to determine their direction in life, because there are a lot of countries you cannot still do that. Some countries are still set like 1,000 years back, in mentality. But where there is more free will, usually in the more developed countries, or then the sun is very powerful. People can feel the sun very powerful, especially people that, as I said, men feel the sun very strongly. Women who have their own goals, who have freedom to go after career and things like that, to create their own careers. And especially if you have a stellium of planets in the same sign as your sun. For example, I'm Aries sun, but I also have their Venus, Mercury, Mars. So then I would feel the prediction from the sun sign very, very strongly. Maybe not as strongly as the ascendant, but it will be up there. And with the sun sign prediction, we have the most ability, when you listen to it, to take the higher road, to use our free will to change things to the best manifestation possible. With the ascendant, with the moon, well, with the moon, if you can control your feelings, but it's harder to control your feelings. With the sun sign, if you can control your thoughts, it's easier to control your thoughts than your feelings. With the ascendant sign, it's kind of more like set. So I told you this. How do you find out what your sun, moon, and ascendant signs are? You can, let me share my screen with you. You can go to my website, astrolada.com, where you can find any other, astrolada.com. Here it is. You can find any other astrology website, but I have this free birth chart calculator. You can go there. You can enter your details, your name, whatever it is, your birth time. Let's say you're born, okay, maybe you're not 8 years old, but the minute, you don't need the second. Very few people know the second. Your town, I would say New York, continued, so it's easier. And here from the drop-down menu, you find out which New York it is. Let's say there might be New York in Texas, Henderson, okay? Let's say I was born there. And this is what you get. It might look like alien, alien stuff to you. But all you need to do is go here, planetary details. And I want you to take those first three, ascendant, sun, and moon. You see those three. and write the degree and the sign. So this person that I invented has the ascendant in Taurus at 24 degrees. Don't look at the second number, the second row. These are the seconds. So just round it up, 24 degrees Taurus. The sun is at 16 Aries. Usually everyone knows their sun sign. This is the sun sign is the same, every year at the same time. And the moon sign of this person is Libra at 8 degrees. Write those down. And if you hear when you're watching Libra, for example, we mentioned Libras born with sun, moon, or ascendant from 3 till 9 degrees, they would feel this influence very strongly. Well, 8 degrees is within that influence. So pay attention what I'm talking about. You're going to feel, especially when I give specific degrees or days. If you're using for the moon, it will be a degree. And you hear your degree or that it's within the range, pay attention to that. You're going to feel this big time. The same with the sun sign, but with the sun sign, I also give the day you are born. For example, people that have degree at 16 Aries, they're born around the 4th or 5th of April. Every year is the same. The ascendant, I'll give the degrees again. So if I say if you're born Taurus, for Tauruses who have anything in degrees from say 12 to 26, and this person has a 24 degrees in Taurus, you will feel this influence, and so on and so on. If you don't hear your degree, just listen. Start with the ascendant sign. The whole prediction for the ascendant sign will, the houses. Then go through the sun sign if you're born during the day, the moon sign second, or second if you're born at night, especially if you're a woman, and end with one of the three and listen to the three of them and see which one you resonate the most with. See which one makes the most sense for you. Watch it again in the middle of the year, towards the end of the year, and you will figure out which planet actually is very strong. But always the ascendant is so important, guys, if you know your time of birth. And because anyway, I cannot fully give you specific reading. I just look at the whole sign, the whole Taurus I'm going to be speaking, or the whole Gemini. But there is a way for you to be following daily your personal transits like no one else in the world has them. It's again on the website, Personal Transit Calendar. You go there, you register. I already have an account. 50,000 people are using it, I think, already. For free. It's weekly, it's for free. But nowhere else in the world are you gonna, and I show you how to use it here. There is an instructional video how to use the transits. But here you put your details. You can put as many people as you want. You're gonna get free for them, or you can buy. You can buy for a year transits or for a month transits. A lot of the people that are subscribe for a month at a time, and you can just watch your specific transits here. They come out. No one else in the world will have the same transits as you on the same time, unless you have a twin born at the same place at the same time at the same minute as you. Otherwise, those transits will always be different. And you can go through each day of the year and see which transits you have. And you click and you read, and that will, you don't need my videos. But in those videos, what I strive to do, because a person has so many transits throughout the year. Look at that. This is just for 1 month. So many transits. How do you make sense of them? In those yearly videos, this is what I help you do, especially if you watch them for your ascendant. To a lesser degree, sun and moon, but they're still relevant. And I give you the bigger, fuller picture, instead of like separate, you have like, for example, look how many transits I'm currently having this day today. And, so, which one, but I give you like a summary of it, like wrap it up. All right. There you go. I think we're ready. If you have written your sun, moon, or ascendant, let's dive in. But before that, just a little quick prayer for God and to bless the year 2021 and to protect anyone. So, dear Father, Mother, Creators, dear Jesus, dear Mary, Buddha, Allah, whoever Whoever has their higher power from whatever place they're praying in the world, turn towards your higher power, to the angels, to the exalted beings that are taking care of humanity, that are selflessly helping us every day, our guardian angels, our departed beloved ones. Thank you so much for protecting us, for keeping us sane during the year 2020, for raising our consciousness collectively during that year. And I ask you for this new age that starts from the year 2021, from this brave new world. Let it be tilted towards the positive. Let the balance go towards the positive. Let more and more souls wake up to the divine love, to brotherhood, to peace. We're entering the age of Aquarius full speed from the beginning of 2021. May God, your desire and your plan for the world be fulfilled through each one of us. May brotherhood, love, equality, fraternity come, compassion between each other rather than separation. And let everyone who is watching this video find out the most important information for them, reach their heart, reach their soul. Let them connect with the information that is most relevant for them, and let them be prepared and help them through the path, and help me be a good channel and a good channeler of your wisdom, of your knowledge, so I can connect the people with the right inspiration. Amen. All right, let's start.
Virgo Sun Moon Rising 2021. Well, let's start a bit with a recap of the past 1 year, 2020, even 2019 before that, because the most important planet, Saturn, which shows us the karmic lessons, the areas of life that we have to work the hardest at, that usually frustrate us the most, but also which we master by the end of that process, has been in your fifth house. And in 2020, even Jupiter was there, the two most important planets that determine our position in society, our material manifestations in life. So if this is Virgo here, from 2018 almost, Saturn has been in your fifth house, which tends to be a bit hard because the fifth house is your confidence levels, and Saturn lowers. Saturn brings them down. Saturn always gives some test for the 2.5 years that it stays in the fifth house, that hits you on the confidence level. But the ultimate goal of Saturn has been not just to smash your ego, but to basically to break down the what feeds your ego, which is insubstantial, which is not on solid ground, and to rebuild it on more solid ground again. And other manifestations usual of Saturn in the fifth house, like it's been in the past 2.5 years, is that it maybe dried out your fun in life. Fifth house is to enjoy yourself, the flow, to flow like a child, to go and sing in front of people, to go make others laugh, to go out and play like a child. And you're probably thinking, what is that? I've forgotten what it feels to be like that. Because Saturn there is also the heart chakra, the fifth house. It kind of dries out that area of life. It kind of restricts the fun in life, sometimes because of responsibilities, or sometimes because of disconnection to this vibrant life source energy, because the fifth house is the house of the sun naturally, where this vitality, connection, excitement about life comes to us. And Saturn might have disconnected that for 2018, 2019, and even 2020, because it was still in your fifth house. And of course, for many of us, not just Virgos, fun was stopped. In 2020, we couldn't go out, meet with people, enjoy our normal hobbies. But maybe Virgos felt that especially strongly. I know I have my sister-in-law is Virgo rising, and she's been like quite, her biggest pleasures were traveling and meeting with friends, and that was all discontinued, and she took it very hard. And but you know, this is the end of it, guys. Saturn is coming out of your fifth house. I think that Virgo suns and Virgo moon people maybe felt it a bit less, especially Virgo sun people, because Saturn being in the fifth sign from your sun sign, if you're a Virgo, was probably very actually, and for the ascendant and for moon, but to a lesser degree, was probably very stabilizing for your career. Maybe you made some career or goal changes, because the sun represents those things, that really created more stability in your life. Maybe more work it brought again, but it in kind of, because of the trine, if you're working on someone, following some goals, maybe it stabilized them. But emotionally, Saturn transiting the fifth house, even when Jupiter was there in 2020, it could not help much, because Jupiter is quite weak in that sign, in Capricorn for you. But it probably kind of drained that natural spontaneous creativity. Or another thing it could have achieved is that it created more structured creativity for you, that you had to be more planned. Another thing it could have done is that some of you might have been able to turn a hobby into career or into work. That's how it drains the fun out of the hobby. Saturn in the fifth house. When you turn a hobby into work, you know, a career. Another thing that Saturn could have done in the fifth house is really slow down your love life for the past 2.5 years. Either block it, non-existent, or maybe because of responsibilities, the romantic part of life was more difficult to access. It had to be planned. Maybe it was not as spontaneous. You know, planned romantic things that do not sound as fun. Just like planned, you know, fun activities. Like you have to force yourself to do it. But also it might have given you, you know, quite a good retrospection of, even if there are sometimes people undergo when Saturn is in the fifth house for 2.5 years, while it was for you, you know, we're talking about the past still, up till the end of 2020. Saturn transiting the fifth house can give some crisis in romantic relationships. Or can give you it's like a reevaluation time to really realistically look at how much you give love and how much you receive. Usually there is a dissatisfaction, and usually you notice the mistakes that you're making when it comes to romantic relationships in your marriage or when you're dating someone. And often sometimes there might be a heartbreak. Sometimes a person experiences a heartbreak when Saturn transits the fifth house, because it wants to teach you to be more cautious and take care and put the right boundaries and responsibilities, and you know, to rethink who you share your love with, who you give and receive. And often this can happen through some kind of crisis. They might have been revisiting and thinking about the past, about the past relationships, trying to work through those hurts that happened in love. But because Saturn is coming out at the end of 2020 from your fifth house, these lessons are finished. So you had this rare opportunity, let's say it this way, because planets always give us an opportunity to really rethink your approach in life, the sense of inadequacy and unlovability, to reframe it, to work on it. If you have, especially Virgos, they have naturally Capricorn in the fifth house. They naturally have a bit like a awkwardness when it comes to romantic experiences and going in the flow naturally with fun and enjoyment, you know. And Saturn intensified this one, but they often have some kind of an inadequacy about their self-esteem. The fifth house is your self-esteem, the inadequacy of how lovable you are, how you know, just like a child, you know, this is the house of children as well. And children often, when they're born, initially they feel like they deserve all the love in the world. But when Saturn transits this fifth house, you might feel like disconnected from it. And it made you reevaluate and hopefully learn to, you know, the ultimate goal of Saturn in this fifth house is to ultimately learn that to just allow worthy, not quantity, but quality. Saturn, this is the key word, not quantity, but quality in your love life, romantically, so to speak. So you've worked through those issues. And to be honest, some of you might have had romantic relationships for sure, but Saturn usually brings older ones, or ones that are working very hard, or some kind of that might not have felt so spontaneous in love feeling, or maybe with some kind of a condition there, or that it develops slowly, you know. And fifth house is children. For some of you might have been delays with children, or some difficult phase your child was going through, or many responsibilities with children. That's another way, that's another possibility. But now those planets, Saturn and Jupiter, are both coming out of your fifth house. So all those lessons, this kind of hit on the ego and slap on the ego that the person gets when Saturn transits the fifth house and goes away. Usually by this time, a person has way more secure self-esteem based on way more realistic self-assessment, so to speak. And a person really knows much better what they want romantically by that time. When Saturn comes out of this house, they know much better. And you're going to start feeling from the beginning of 2021, like this heaviness has lifted from you, especially heaviness from your ability to enjoy life, to have fun, to flow, you know. And there's, you know, you're going to start feeling that you're much more natural, and that any obstacles to you having fun, any obstacles for you allowing your creativity to flow, any obstacles to you, or any heavy workload that was blocking all of those things, or any heavy self-doubts, this is also Saturn, that's blocking your access to romantic relationships, your sense of self-esteem, your sense of creativity, or your creative or fun activities, it will ease off. All those obstacles will disappear. You know, from 2021, I think you'll start being able to have more fun, enjoy yourself. But you have a new set of lessons to learn now, with Saturn and Jupiter moving together at the same time from the very end of 2020. And they'll stay almost the whole 2021 in your sixth house. So now a new set of challenges, but let's say not challenges, a new opportunity opens up for you to master a different area of your life. And what you're going to master now is what you're naturally very attuned to. Till now, the lessons were to master romantic relationships in the hard way, to master self-esteem, to master something creative and artistic, and relationships with children, you know, this fifth house activities. From now on, from 2021, actually for the next 2 years, in 2022 and part of 23 as well, while Saturn is in your sixth house, you're going to be asked to master the sixth house, which is naturally the Virgo house. So you're going to become more Virgo-like. You'll be like, how much more Virgo can I become? You'll see now. Actually, I think you'll feel quite aligned to those energies. I think it will be like being in your own waters because of this activation of the sixth Virgo house, even though it's in Aquarius, but the sixth house from any sign carries the qualities of Virgo, because it carries the qualities of order, self-discipline as well. And what you're going to notice, because I know there's still some messy Virgos there, you know, it's there's two things in Virgos. They're either very messy, but they still know where things are. There's some weird logic there, or they're very organized. So now when Saturn and Jupiter enter your sixth house, you get a bit more than that. You know, the organized ones, they would, you have to rethink everything, especially if you're OCD. You have to cope with those OCD tendencies and maybe have 2 years to kind of make them not so intense. And the other side, the opposite, if you're messy, not organized around your life, you'd have to master that, you know. And I've known many Virgo rising people. I don't know why so many come into my life, and they said that initially they were quite messy in their life, and then something happens and they become super organized and like that, you know, like the proper Virgo quality. And so they're not naturally born like that, many Virgos, but at certain period, and some of them were in their 30s, some of them in their teen years, some of them it's like very different. But one of those activating periods is when your sixth house is triggered. So if you're gonna start putting order into your life, and the sixth house is also about service and work. So Saturn and Jupiter are going to increase your workload. If you didn't have a job till now, if you are not clear about your work and employment, it's not going to be the issue anymore. If anything, you will get a lot more work with Saturn, which always increases duties and responsibilities. And it might feel a bit overwhelming even. And Jupiter brings new opportunities. So I think it's a huge possibilities for Virgos to get even a new job, because there is a new cycle starting in your sixth house that lasts 20 years. Saturn and Jupiter join and meet exactly at the cusp at the beginning of your sixth house at the end of 2020, and that determines the next 20 years almost, at least half the cycle, the next 10 years. So if you're starting, and there's a big possibility in 2021 that you'll start a new job in a new place, in a new environment, even with new people. If you're starting something like that, this will honestly have the possibility that it stays in your life for many years, and that it determines your employment and work situation for many, many years ahead. And I think it will be something meaningful that comes to you, because Jupiter, the planet of meaning, of purpose, of guided inspiration from above, your higher self will direct you, or will direct the right opportunities for service and work and employment to you, while Saturn will give you the perseverance and the steady energy, despite of it being hard, because it will be hard, and possibly especially if it's a new area, or if it brings more responsibilities than normal, and it will, because it's just Saturn. You need to tend to be patient. You need to give it 1-2 years until you settle into it, until you master it, and that's how long it's gonna take, around a couple of years from now, 2021, 22, to master that area of new service that's very likely for you, or new added responsibilities and duties that come to you. But as I said, it will have a meaning for you. It will be a career very likely that brings opportunities, that expands, that it's like aligned with your purpose. This is Jupiter, and it will, even at the beginning though, it might be difficult, and I cannot tell when exactly it will happen in 2021. Might be from the beginning, because there is a huge stellium in Aquarius. The Sun will be there, Mercury will be there, Venus will be there in January, part of February. That's a very strong period for all of those things happening, but it can happen throughout to the end of the year. Also, if you're already in the right career that you like, or you have your own business, for example, with those planets moving into the sixth house, it indicates that you might be able, especially Jupiter allows to expand your business, but gradually, because Saturn is also there, with the condition of extra work. So maybe your work hours will, even if you're self-employed, whether you're self-employed or whether you are working for someone, it's like expect that you would work over hours, like extra hours, and that can actually increase your income, because Jupiter makes a positive expanding aspect to your second house of finances. So does Saturn, and this is a strong indication when Saturn, and especially with Jupiter, are passing the sixth house, that one can make more money, but the money comes by doing extra hours. So it's kind of extra work, or working longer hours. And usually, I've seen people who are born with Saturn in the sixth house, they're natural kind of what's that called, workaholics. So you'd go on that line for a little bit, you'd for a year, a couple of years. In 2021, you'll start with lots of enthusiasm. In 22, it might wear off for a little bit, because Jupiter comes out of the sixth house, so the joy wears off and it becomes more mundane, but it's still a lot of responsibilities and duties. But believe me, by the end of this period, by 2023, when Saturn comes out of your sixth house, you'd have really solid foundation in your work life, in your You might have organized your business or your responsibility in a more neat way, and you can start already from 2021. Not only with your work and office, that you kind of streamline, and because Saturn likes to make more minimalistic, to really because the workload increases, so a person is almost like forced into deciding how to choose just the most, to prioritize with the tasks and errands. And even if you're not someone who works, it's like your responsibilities at home or duties and errands will also increase, and you have to, because they increase. The ultimate goal of Saturn transiting the sixth house will be to teach you how to prioritize of what's important, so you don't go like crazy doing every little detail of everything, and answering 200 emails per day, and wasting time, but instead thinking, okay, I'm gonna answer emails only from those and those clients, or only from those and those questions, only the most important task. I'll arrange my work in order of importance. So for example, like when I first started working in my business, I was giving so much time to every little thing, and I would end up working 18 hours per day, and it was a mess. And it took me years to figure out that how to prioritize, and you'll do it in a crash course, especially 2021, 22, what to do with your errands, with your life, with everything. Everyone has a list of things they have to do. This is the sixth house. Errands to run, work to do, your daily routines when you wake up. Well, you're going to have to simplify them, first of all. This is Saturn, to simplify them and to put the ones with the highest priority and importance on top. So you'll learn to discriminate between what is most important to do and what is less important, and this way, how to organize your time. So it's fantastic. The Saturn loves transiting there. You'd love to do that. Virgos naturally are drawn to such things, to categorizing and by importance and lists and stuff. I think you'll have a blast with that. Okay, it might feel overwhelming at the beginning with lots of work and responsibilities, duties, errands of some sort that feel overwhelming. And that's, because Saturn pushes us to make changes by overwhelming us or by some blockage and some kind of difficulty. So you learn to prioritize those things, and don't worry, because in 2021, even if you don't have a job, Jupiter brings opportunities for a job and for career. You might juggle even a few things. If it's your own business, you might be expanding again. Gradually, though, Saturn is there. Don't jump too fast into things. You're doing the hard. You're kind of like building foundations now in matters of work, of daily habits and routines, and Jupiter will allow you to bring new routines and new habits and new knowledge of how to do something. Maybe some task that you are doing, say you're an artist, some task or some technique you are doing, you might discover a new technique now of doing something, or you might discover software to do your business, to do your accounting easier, or software to do your payments easier, whatever. It's kind of about rationalizations. No, how is it to Jupiter will bring you knowledge and information that to simplify your work or to organize it, to help you expand it while having more control over it. Saturn is more control, Jupiter to expand it. So be open to such new tools. It's a lot about learning the sixth house. It's a Virgo house. Naturally, Virgo wants to learn, to organize, and to systemize, to make simpler, to make smaller. It's very much about making small and not working, not just to work less, but to make it more practical rather than working smart, not hard. I think that's work smart, not hard. This is what you're mastering for 2 years ahead. And I'm not talking cut corners, but I was talking about prioritizing everything. Sixth house is also employees. If you have employees, you might initially even, the Saturn might bring some difficulties and delays, just like it can do with work, some complications there, some difficult knots with your workmates and your work environment, and your work processes that you have to untangle that you have to mobilize all your concentration and resources and powers. And the same applies also if you're having employees, say you're a manager or something, or you have your own business, or you're hiring someone to fix your house, or a nanny, or to clean your house. So, there are different things to hire people about. These are the sixth house relationships with others. So you might have kind of more involvement with such people, heavier responsibilities around them, more engagement. You have to give them more of your time as well. But I think if people like that come into your life, they'll be quite good people, because Saturn is fantastic in Aquarius in its own sign. So it's not going to give people that are miserable, that will ruin your business, or that will create misery for you. They might be a bit more difficult, maybe initially, or because it requires you more time to teach them or to prepare them, or because there's more workload of some sort, or because they might be more difficult, less flexible initially. But these people will be very reliable. These people will be hardworking, and these people will be, because Jupiter is there as well, they can bring abundance of some sort. They can bring new ideas to you as well. But because of Saturn, some things, will kind of go slower, or certain problems will have to be solved. But especially such people that you hire, they'll be able to help you solve such problems, but it might take longer as well. Sixth house as well rules pets. So for some of you, if you have pets, this can be a time when there might be some problems with the pet, that you have to pay more attention to a pet, that you're more involved with the pet. But because Jupiter is there, there's protection as well. So, and Jupiter can also want you to expand and add another pet or something like that. But some activities connected to that are happening. Sixth house is naturally service. So all professions like military service, police officers, nurses, doctors, social workers, people that even in government who are like service people, like bureaucrats and stuff in government, they're all under the sixth house, nurses, doctors, So people in social, and also litigators, people that are dealing with conflict, because sixth house is the house of unresolved conflict, imbalanced situations, just like doctors do that, just like litigators and lawyers, in balanced situations, just like the military and the police officers do that. They always go in situations of imbalance, or situations that there is a conflict, or situations that there is some, stresses, or pollution or difficulty. This is the sixth house. For all such careers, if you're in any of those careers, there might be even a promotion within 2 years, or there might be increased workload. You can definitely be highly sought after. You can do your grand masterpiece of work there. It's not going to be easy. Saturn is involved, but it's going to be rewarding. Especially you're going to see the rewards. I think possibly there might be a promotion in 2021 there as well, because of Jupiter being involved to manifest that sixth house of service. I think you'll do some of the most important work you've ever had to. Maybe you have more clients if you're doctors, more patients, more assignments if you're in the military, and so on. You have a lot of things to do there. You are not going to be sitting, on your hands, wondering what to do. But sixth house is often work that, that can be extremely like paying karmic debt almost, because it's one of the other meanings of the sixth house is to pay a debt. And we pay them by servicing, by giving service to those we've hurt in past lifetimes, or those that helped us in past lifetime. And you might honestly feel very drawn, either consciously or subconsciously, you might get drawn in such situations where you have to help someone that is in need. Sixth house rules any people that is in imbalanced situation. It might be a friend or colleague, or just random people that are, that are dealing with some problem, mental, psychological, physical, emotional, financial, that are in a blaming mode, or in a victimhood mode, victimization. This is the sixth house. And you might be called to really help such people. You might be get involved with such kind of people with a lot of inner critical self-talk or victimhood mentality. And that might be frustrating from time to time. You can't fix such people overnight. You can't solve the problems of the world, even though you might feel called to do something about it when Saturn and Jupiter transit in your sixth house, especially with your heart of service and wanting to help everyone. The beautiful Virgos that you are, one of my favorite signs, the most loving people, the most humble, kind people I know are often Virgo. And they have some with their big mouth that are quite critical, but inside they're such loving, kind people. They do it always because they want to help others. But you might feel even called to become Mother Teresa. And you might feel called like to save others and to help others in such kind of distraught situations. And, if you feel this call, it's maybe you have to do it. Maybe this is how you're paying your karmic debt. Maybe this is how you're helping someone who's helped you in a past life before. And it's almost like you're put in a lowly position of a servant to another, in a lowly position of helping someone. But, like the Bible said, the last will be first, the ones that serve will become... here on earth will become the ones that are being served and so on. So you're doing your karmic, you're putting, let's say, karmic points for the good place, not only for the good place, for your life ahead forward, because Virgo's fortune in life comes when they follow the Virgo energy. They align to their path in life and they start attracting good things when they give service to others and help those that are in imbalanced situations. And if you're already in such a career like a nurse, a doctor in the military and police, you're already doing that. Most of the people, they're batshit crazy people that would harm people they're supposed to help. But like, let's say 90% of people that are in those careers are doing the best they can to help their clients, to help their, whatever, their patients. But even if you're not in any of those positions, you just feel called to do more, to work harder, to help others. And it's not like just giving them an ear or shoulder to cry to. You'd want to go and do some practical steps for them, to bring them some clothes or to to take your friend for a run if she's just broken up with someone and just wants to go and drink. And then let's take you for a run. Let's do something, You're going to be there like this kind nurse to others, doing your thing. And I would advise Virgo never to run from such responsibilities, especially now for the next 1 year, the next 2 years. You're putting in karmic points, in your bag. But of course, don't overwork yourself, because the sixth house, another meaning of the sixth house is health. And here there can appear some chronic health conditions with Saturn. Saturn is a chronic planet, especially from overworking and especially from not taking care of yourself, your body, your mental health or physical health balance. Because remember, the sixth house is the house of lack of balance and how we learn to address issues that are imbalanced. And for example, you might start getting some chronic issues because you're slouching and you're working on your desk for 10 hours a day and you don't walk enough, or you're not eating your vegetables, you're not drinking your smoothies, you're not taking enough supplements. Or nowadays, almost everyone has to take supplements, because who eats fruits and vegetables all day long? Or if you're not, or it might be that you've just, it might be posture related, might be a toxic environment situation. So it might be a time when you have to resolve, but again, it's not going to happen fast. It might take 2 years to resolve, or 2 years and some time to resolve some toxic situations. Sixth house is pollution. There might be pollution in the air or Wi-Fi pollution. And if some health problems start coming up, the first things I want you to check is, because the health problems that come when Saturn or transits the sixth house, the health problems due to the environment we live in, whether it's toxic emotionally, physically, psychologically, or due to something we do, the lifestyle we lead. It's not some hidden illness that's genetic, that gets unlocked suddenly. No, this is something that is due to your lifestyle. Even if your mom had it, your grandma had it, and you're saying, oh, we're diabetics because of, my grandma was. No, it's, if something flares up as a health problem now, this is because of your lifestyle. And it might take long time work, 2 years. But from 2021 already, you'd start getting the answers how to resolve this problem, because Jupiter is involved there, and Jupiter will give you good doctors, will give you good medical literature, good intuition about what you have to check. For example, I know many Virgos that have issues with their intestines, because Virgo naturally rules the intestines, so does the sixth house. Like the stomachs are more bloated, they're more sensitive with the digestive system, and 75% of all illnesses start in the digestive system. Even the mental health balance starts from the digestive system. The stomach produces the serotonin and dopamine even more so than the brain does. The stomach produces 90% of the happiness hormones, like we thought. So Virgos, it's part of their destiny to learn how to rebalance unbalanced situation, how to live healthy, in a sense, how to have a healthy gut flora, how to, and often, how to balance emotional and physical states. And this is what you're working on for 2 years. Very strongly, it's a focus. And again, I'm repeating, the issues that come now, you can fix them with a life change, with a lifestyle change. And it might not happen so easy it might take 2 years to fully implement again this lifestyle change. But eventually, all the Virgos that I know, they start with health issues and they end up being the healthiest people I know, because they go into, they try different eliminating food groups, and they end up eating very clean food. They end up exercising regularly. They do it for health and balance, not for vanity only, mostly. And usually, I notice a lot of times Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising people, they'll be like, they'll be complaining from health, a bit hypochondriac, and you think like, those people will die in their 30s and they end up living till their 90s at the end, because they've been taking care of those, because those things, they feel them much more. Any kind of, if you're a Leo, strong Leo, you just like... you'd not have any complaints and then just drop dead from a massive heart attack. While Virgos start feeling the symptoms from decades before that, and that's why the sensitivity there. Virgos have a lot of allergic reactions to things as well, because their digestive system generally and the whole health overall is more sensitive. But because of the changes they do, they prolong their health and life a lot. So yes, this is what you'll be mastering, taking care of that beautiful body of yours, that instrument in your lifetime. You're here to really appreciate it, to understand its workings as well. You'll be tackling some unhealthy habits. Now, so many people I see when Saturn, especially with Jupiter, 2021 will be great year for that. 2022 becomes a bit more harder because it's just Saturn there. But 2021, you can tackle a bad habit, especially one that involves a substance, that involves, because sixth house rules any chemical substances that are poisoning the body. So eliminating drinking for some of you. And usually the changes that you do with substances and addictions and health, while Saturn and Jupiter transit your sixth house, they stay in your life for life usually. They're like life-changing. They have long-lasting effect. And again, you might struggle at the beginning because Saturn initiates that. It might be a long period. It might take 1-2 years till you fully feel you're out of the habit. But you have to try over, and it might take many restarts, like quitting drinking or quitting smoking or quitting sugar. It's about eliminating something poisonous chemical, or quitting gluten for some of you. These are all things that many Virgos are sensitive to. Or eliminating dairy. All those things Virgos have to be a bit more careful with. And Especially the nervous system is very sensitive as well, because Aquarius rules the sixth house of health problems, and a lot of the foods they eat can affect their nervous systems and create nervous, anxious, anxiety states. And I would highly recommend you to start experimenting gradually, slowly. Don't do radical changes. It is Saturn, after all, that is in the sixth house. Jupiter will give you the enthusiasm and the right information and the state of mind of readiness and meaning. Now you're doing it with meaning and purpose, and it will bring you the right resources and information. Not just, you're not gonna have to figure it all alone and make a lot of mistakes, but you have to try over and over and over again. This is the energy of Saturn. Try, repeat. You might have to pick up yourself again. Maybe you might have 100 day ones, starting all over, or you might get it very fast from the beginning. I think with Saturn, though, there'll be like a repetition. It might be on waves. Or you might have first to try and eliminate something, then change something in your health, lifestyle. And by the end of this process, you'd have, I can give you an example. My little brother, who is Leo rising, so he had Saturn for 2.5 years already, before that, and Jupiter as well. So for the last 2.5 years, he totally transformed his body. He became like a Greek god type of thing. He's had health, weight problems for many years, and now at 22, he started at 20, at 22 now, his body is like chiseled, every muscle, you can see it, and he was measuring his food and how much he eats, and like tzika. It's incredible. What transformation you can do, but it's gradual. You don't see it overnight. I mean, you have to be really persistent with Saturn. You do it on a daily basis, a little bit every day. It's not going to go like a crash diet and you're going to lose all this weight. With Saturn in the sixth house, it's a lifestyle change, 2 years transition, long-term commitment. And I think if you start living and eating like that, you keep it for life. And usually it means eliminating something or limiting something, or smaller quantities but more often repetition with smaller quantities and more quality food. This is again Saturn. Jupiter there again I think it will increase the enthusiasm for such activities initially. Also some health problems. Saturn might prolong them for a couple of years, working on them little by little, even if you feel sometimes like desperate. Why is it not changing? You believe me, you'll see the change, you'll see the difference. By the end, Saturn comes out of this sixth house. You just have to trust me, remember those words. So if you're someone who, like me, constantly tries to quit bad habits, and finally when I had Saturn and Jupiter in my sixth house this year, I'm also Leo moon, I finally was able, after trying for 20 years to quit drinking, I was able to, I was not like alcoholic or anything, but I was like twice a week, party, binge. And finally, after many repeated efforts, I was able to do it, and it's sticking, and I'm only seeing, but it took me 2 years trying, and I was like, many times, because Saturn is involved, you just don't feel you're making any progress. You feel you might feel like you have to constantly white knuckle it. And while Saturn now started coming out of my sixth house, there from the moon, it starts like, wow, I've implanted it as part of my life. I no longer kind of idealize it, so it becomes a habit by that period. So that's what you're in for, guys. Be prepared, get armed with patience. I think you are very attuned to that task. I think you're naturally very attuned to any such task, to perfect your health. Some of you might get obsessed with, health and such kind of stuff. And by the way, also careers that are like nutritionists, that are careers connected with food, with healing food, or with exercise, like someone who is a workout specialist. What is that called? Trainer. You're gonna have probably the most important 2 years, starting with 2021, an opportunity to expand your business gradually, starting from 2021. All such careers, or even if you're not in such a career, you can start such a career, or you can start really kind of hype up your self-caring routines, and be some kind of like a health master by the end of this period. And if you're not paying attention to your health, then the health issues start flaring up. You have to cope with certain changes in your body and so on. But again, as I said, just a little bit of changing here, diet, tweaking there, and trying different things. Not overnight, huge thing, that's it. You know, Saturn doesn't act like that. Maybe Jupiter might make you enthusiastic to try it, but little adjustments, little by little by little, and you get to there at the end. Sixth house is also the house of debt. You might have to be managing and dealing with the debt for the next couple of years, trying to consolidate, to resolve, to work on, to fix some debt that you have. And we're talking, for example, a loan or whatever, you know. And, or if you have, you might not be able to fully pay it off before the Saturn moves out of the sixth house, which is there for 2 years. But you'll be working in steps towards resolving such a debt, maybe even increasing your work hours. It might be connected somehow, so you can come out of that, or you can make it streamline it, make it easier to manage. Sixth house is also one's enemies. Let's talk interesting things now. People that you have conflict with, people that you know, it's open conflict. It's not someone doing stuff behind your back. It's basically might be sometimes even a spouse, if you're in that stage of a relationship where it can lock a marriage into this kind of if a relationship is not good, it can lock it in a constant state of imbalance, because Saturn is kind of slows down and locks the house, and the imbalance states is the sixth house, the imbalance states of relationships as well. It can lock it in without resolution for a bit till Saturn moves into your seventh house. But actually, I think there might be movement, because Jupiter goes from 2022 in your even part of 2021 into your seventh house just for a little bit. It dips in there for a couple of months. How much is it? From June? No, let me see. From when? Sorry. June. It becomes retrograde June the 2nd. From May, Jupiter enters Pisces, your seventh house, so they can be resolutions to relationships from then on, but only for a little bit. It dips there, and then in June the 20th it becomes retrograde, and then it enters, where is that? It enters back into Aquarius. Sorry, June it becomes retrograde. May it enters Aquarius. Well, I have to look at me. I'll just let you know now. Sorry about that. Why didn't I prepare for that? Sorry about that, guys. I want to tell you because there'll be an opportunity here for relationships as well. It's not only work this year. It's going to be also some important relationships that happen. All right, so Jupiter comes out. So basically, from May the 14th, Jupiter is in your seventh house till the end of July. From May the 14th, so 2 months and a half, basically. 2 months and a half in the summer for the Northern Hemisphere. Till the end of July, Jupiter is, so till, I would say, I'll give you the exact date. Till 29th of July, Jupiter is in your seventh house. And those of you who are the first 3 degrees of Virgo might have some very important developments in relationships. They can meet someone very important in this period. What would it mean if you're born basically the first 3 degrees? So 0 degrees Virgo, 1 degree, 2 degrees, and 3 degrees of Virgo. Those 4 degrees, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 degrees of Virgo, 0, 1, 2, 3. degrees, they can have something very important come to you from another person, like start a relationship, for example, if your moon is there, those degrees, or your sun or your ascendant, or attract someone, some beneficiary, or some positive contract, or partner with someone that will expand your horizon, or someone entering your life, even if it's not like a romantic partner, even though if you're those first 3 degrees, you can start a very important relationship, like marriage, like even, or take a relationship to the next level in commitment. But those that, but it might be business partnership, it might be just someone who expands your horizon, that comes into your life, makes you see a bigger opportunity, a good counselor, a good advisor that explains to you things, that makes you, that brings more faith to you, that brings more optimism somehow. But these are only very small number of Virgos that will feel it. Only those that are the early born, let's say the first 4 degrees, so possibly if you're born, the August born Virgos, if it's your sun, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, kind of August. But Jupiter enters your 7th house, dips in for a little bit, and it will be fully in your 7th house in 2021. So you'll see, this is when a lot of Virgos might get married, or they might create business partnership. Their businesses they can attract more clients from then on. But for now, most of the time, Jupiter is in the 6th house, helping you work and master those 6th house issues that we're talking about. Those 6th house matters, resolution of health matters, starting some service, new career, new job, new mission of service, or sixth house can be also any kind of business that you're working on, preparing, and service business of any sort as well. Any kind of work is the 6th house. So that's a huge focus there, these material matters that you're trying to sort out, and that they give you meaning and they anchor you. And for some of you, for a little bit, there is like this possibility of relationships happening as well. Those early, especially the earlier Virgos, like we said, a very fortuitous business partnership, relationships, personal relationship, commitments as well. Falling in love type of things as well. And the 6th house is also the house of, your enemies who are talking, any competitors or enemies. Well, you'll outlast them, because Saturn is there for the marathon, for the long run. If they're sprinters, you're a marathon runner. And even if you think they're getting ahead of you, so what are enemies? People you're in court case with, people that might be your workmates, but they're competing with you or something like that. It's like open ones that you openly know that you're not in friendly terms, that there is imbalance there in your relationship. It might be even some friends that you think they're, that are open enemies for you. They're not really friends, frenemies. But it's nothing hidden type of thing. You're directly, openly, in a situation. Your marriage partner can be that you have a conflict there. Marriage partner, anyone basically. But if there is this conflict situation, this is the 6th house, and it might get drawn out, such a situation, for a couple of years while Saturn is there, but you outlast your enemies. That's what happens. They'll kind of give up by the end, and you're there, and that's how you win, because Saturn in the 6th house helps you win with your enemies by tiring them out. You're just there on the long run, and even if they're like most successful initially, it looks like they're gonna win. No, you outlast them. So that's how it plays. All right. Some of you might even want to help, might get some in Ministry of Service, to help those in need. Some of you might even want to go to other countries and help those in need somehow. There is a possibility, an opportunity for you here. 6th house is also the house of fixing problems, and also careers, saying like an auditor or an accountant, or someone needs to, someone who needs to categorize things, to organize things, to see where a problem is stemming from, finding a problem. So you might be like a business consultant that a company hires you and says, can you tell me how do I make more profit? There is a problem here, or we're going to close the company, something, and you have to fix the problem. Problem fixers is the 6th house. So if you're in any such careers, wow, you'll be super busy for the next 1-2 years. There might be even some promotion for you, but with extra, way extra workload for you. All right. So a lot of things for the 6th house, and then, as we said, it dips Jupiter those months, May until the end of July in your 7th house for a little bit. So you can expect some positivity, good things coming through your relationships with others. I would say all Pisces, but especially the August or the early Sun Moon degrees. Then we have to look at the nodes of the moon, of course. Well, we have, guess what houses they're activating? Rahu is in your 10th house. It's another career house. But that's like a mission. So I'm seeing a pattern here, guys. 2021 is when you really take it up a notch, when you really rise in status. You'll be doing a lot of hard work behind the scenes. You'll be working like a slave there, but you get recognition as well, because Rahu, which magnifies whatever house it passes to, it gives material manifestation, and sudden rise in this house is in your house of social status. Well, some of you will get promotions, especially if your rising sign is Virgo. It's very strong with the sun, second strong after that. The moon is not so much connected to career usually. So, especially your rising sign in Virgo, or ascendant ascendant, or your sun, they can be a rise in your social status by a promotion, and of course it brings extra work, like we talked about that, your responsibilities. But this is the service, the work you do. This is your highest mission. This is here vocation. We're talking about, baby, not just work. So whatever work you're doing, it will be meshed. It will bring some kind of sense of purpose or vocation to it. And Rahu can help you also suddenly switch, because Rahu has this very unexpected energy. The ancient Vedic astrologers, they almost like describe it like Uranus type of thing. And it can bring, and to experiment, to investigate, to try, to experiment, to flip, to switch something quickly, to try something that you've never tried before. So some of you might try a new career, a new worldly responsibility, new role, as I said, that they've never tried. They can be a big promotion or sudden change in their career. When Rahu transits, it happens quite fast and quite quickly. I can give you an example. When Rahu was transiting the 10th house from my ascendant, I was just working as an astrologer for 1 year or 2 years in my own little website. And then when Rahu transited there that year, especially around the eclipses, I suddenly hired 10 readers and astrologers, and my business suddenly expanded, So that's something that can happen suddenly, or you can suddenly enter into roles of leadership and roles of management and organizational, something. The 10th house is to organize, to structure, to be supervisor of someone, to have to lead in some way. You might be thrown there before you're even ready, because Rahu kind of puts us in situations that we're not prepared yet for. So it's kind of fake it till you make it. It throws you there like throws you in the swimming pool and learn to swim type of thing. And you have to very quickly, you pretend, and don't worry, it's not usually don't drown. So you fumble through it, but you make it. It's kind of scary, but you're thrown into that. This is very much the energy of Rahu. So, and often sometimes people even can apply for positions that are above their rank. They can even, I've seen sometimes when people's Rahu is transiting there, that they go and they break the rules of getting into a certain position and success in career. They don't go through the stepwise process of, starting from here, then the next position. They can come from here to here when Rahu transits theirs. Usually it's like when they switch from one responsibility to a very different one responsibility career, and they might have to, they're a little bit out of their depth, but there is this rise though in social status. So that's what I foresee for Virgos. There will be this, you might feel like you're out of your a little bit when it comes to the worldly responsibilities that are thrust on you, that you are craving. Rahu is where you develop a passion. Rahu is the reptilian brain where we become quite desirous when it activates. The 10th house for social recognition, for status. So you're gonna be daring and you're gonna go and try out to get into maybe companies that others would tell, wow, this is way above your grade, or to start like your own business or something that, or to start like, I suddenly became a boss to 10 people and I knew nothing about organization and I knew nothing about supervising and managing. I was such a joke, but look, it's worked itself out. The Rahu threw me out there. I was like, I decided to take a risk. Rahu is take a risk. Try something you've never tried before. So you do this with such positions with career. You might even present yourself as someone, especially so that you don't really have skills for that. You might present yourself a bit high and you'll be given an opportunity actually to get to a higher position and out of your depth, a little bit, but you cope with it. Saturn and Jupiter, you'll be doing a lot of hard work in the 6th house. You'll be learning 6th house, the house of the disciple, I forgot to tell you. And Saturn and Jupiter, they say that you're also like in a role, some of you, of a disciple, of a apprentice, the apprentice. So you really, you're not just going to be striving for this ambitious Rahu in the 10th house, and you just want some high position, but you have nothing to give for it. Actually, you really put on your student cap and you're really doing your best to master difficult learnings. And what is a master? What is an apprentice? Apprentice is almost like a servant to the master. They look, they copy, they repeat, they try over and over and over. They do the dirty job. Well, you'll be ready to do the dirty job as well, but you'll be aiming high with this Rahu in the 10th house. Rahu wants a sudden jump, Yes, I'll clean the toilets or I'll do the hard work that is necessary, say, to start my own business or whatever. I'll study and learn, but I want fast results as well, in a sense, like I want quickly to rise. And Rahu can actually give you that. But you really have to do really Saturn and Jupiter, you have to be mastering whatever you're doing to perfection with extra work hours or whatever. But the promotion is possibly there, new change of direction in career. That's for my friend Vili, who is Virgo rising, and she's just been saying, I want to work, but I don't know what to study, and I don't know. And I said, Vili, you'll figure it all out. You'd figure out, 2021 is your year for such things, for meaningful work, for getting ahead through career or business or your personal, becoming your own boss or type of thing, or just some kind of promotion and being noticed. Also, if you have a boss, Rahu, it means that there might be a new boss, Rahu, or there might be someone, the new rules that in your career, especially that integrate like new technologies, especially Rahu rules anything online, anything that is innovative. Rahu in Vedic astrology rules internet and any kind of contraptions made by humans, especially the newest, the cutting edge ones. That's why Rahu is a bit like Uranus, And so any scientific innovations and stuff. So you have this year, guys, if you want to be on top of your game, and you will, there will be opportunities exactly for that, to incorporate like very new strategies in your career, new technologies, something online. It's whatever you're doing, something online, or you might have to learn some software or whatever. People that can have great success if you're in trading, if you're in something online. Rahu really gives the material manifestation of the sign and how it is passing through. So it's passing there. All such things can happen, and anyone, you can have sudden rise in such Rahu connected careers. And there can be some authority figure in your life that is kind of Rahuvian, that is foreign or quirky or very progressive, modernistic, a modernistic style of leadership that is introduced as well, innovations type of thing. But at the same time, Rahu is always opposite the south node, Ketu. And Ketu is like an axis. They're not actual planets. He's in your fourth house, Virgos. What does it mean? Well, because you're so drawn into this achievements, worldly achievements, getting out there in the world, even if you don't want to get out, the universe kicks you out there in the public eye, the 10th house, to do things, to be useful to the world, to do things that are noticed by others. So, you know, worldly responsibilities and career stuff, taking over the world. Well, because your passions are there, what it detracts from is your family and personal time, the fourth house. You might feel either less connected or less interested in such things, or you might just, you know, kind of a bit disconnected from your family or a bit disconnected from your emotional needs because you're out there to conquer the outer world. This is what you have to do, especially Virgo rising people. Second is Sun in Virgo. The moon not so much. With the moon, when the south node transits the fourth house, they can feel a little bit disconnected from their feelings, from emotional disconnection from family. It can mean change of place of living when Rahu transits the fourth, south node transit the fourth from the moon, letting go of one place of living, going to another, letting go of a parent. And for the ascendant and the sun as well, there might be letting go of a parent or letting go of a parental responsibility of some sort, or completing some responsibility towards a parent or in the family, letting go of a house. And there might be the need even to change place of living for some of you because of career changes that are happening. Rahu Day might be promotion or whatever. So the home environment can change as well in some way. So yeah, this is the south node in the fourth house. It's what can happen though is you forget to take care of your emotional needs and nurture yourself emotionally because of that south node in the fourth house. So yeah, but maybe that's what's needed. You know, just remember this is a possibility. They can also sometimes, Rahu and Ketu, on the axis of parental axis, there can be some changes with your parents in the life of your parents, for example. I'm not saying something extreme will happen, but because eclipses, especially if your ascendant is in Virgo, eclipses happen on the axis of the 10th and 4th house, then eclipses can indicate something with parents, the ending, the start, you know, the start of a new chapter in their life, or in your relationship with them, or sometimes it's ending of some parental figure relationship with them, or their physical life. But again, it's way rarer. And especially, you know, the eclipses are happening. The first one is a lunar eclipse, total lunar eclipse. And it's happening on May 26th, and it's in your fourth house. And that might be the completion of some home project. So the whole, maybe think of it, you know, it's happening on May 26th, but you might feel it a month before and a month after. So around the spring, the lunar eclipse in your fourth house, it's about completion, ending something about home, family, parent, place of living, responsibility of parenthood, property. And then seeing the results of, you know, you might be able to finally sell a property or complete, you know, parental responsibility, or move from somewhere. Then there is another, and this eclipse is at 5 degrees Sagittarius. So if you're around 5 degrees Virgo, Sun, Moon, rising, that will be felt stronger. You know, that's if you're born from around the 26th to around the 31st of August, if it's your sun sign, or around 5 degrees, say around from 2 to 7, 8 degrees in Virgo, you'll feel this first lunar eclipse on the 5th of on May 26th. Then there is a solar eclipse on June the 10th. Now, solar eclipses are felt very strongly. They're more powerful. Solar eclipses act for 6 months after that. And the June solar eclipse on the 10th happens in your 10th house with the North Node. So it gives you something. The South Node completes something, ends something. The 10th house eclipse gives you something. And especially if your Sun, Moon, or Ascendant is around 19 degrees in Virgo. That means if you're born within 3 degrees is the most important. So if you're born around from the 9th of September to around the 15th of September, with peak around the 12th of September, so 9th till 15th of September, you are going to feel it. And that's eclipse that can bring new beginning in your career. It can bring a new beginning in your and not immediately, maybe not in June, but something can happen there, like a crisis or some awakening or some pivotal understanding that happens, and within 6 months or even to a year after that, it can just change the direction of your career, usually to bring something new, usually to align you to your purpose somehow, because Rahu tends to give. And some change can happen, big change in the life of your father as well around that time. My husband had that eclipse exactly last year in his 10th house. And on that day, 2-3 days around that eclipse, he kind of felt very hurt by people that he got together who asking him, what do you do? And he said, I still don't know what I want to do. And he went through some crisis, and that crisis put him into determined mode to really figure out what it is, his worldly responsibilities and duty and mission. And within 8-9 months of that eclipse, he discovered his passion. He discovered his something that he feels like a mission, because he's obsessed with that. So this can kickstart such process for you, some process of promotion or change in your career, blah, 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 that we talked about. Then there is another eclipse. There is a lunar eclipse, but this one now is not going to be on the 19th of November. It's at your 9th house, does not affect you, some change. This lunar eclipse, it's lunar eclipse with the North Node in Taurus. That's more like in your 9th house. So November, there might be some possibility to fulfill a trip, a foreign trip, a course of study, maybe a month before already, October, November, December, those months. A trip, a foreign country, place, some relocation in foreign place, or some to resolution of some legal matters or documents of some sort, or some academic achievement, or take some crash course, or complete some crash course, or complete or see the results of some educational project, or some teaching project of some sort, some change and shift of your spiritual perspective and outlook on the world. And then the last eclipse is a solar eclipse in your 4th house, new moon eclipse, new beginnings with the south node in December 4th. December 4th, remember, so new moon eclipse, so it means you're gonna feel it possibly November, December, and 6 months after that into 2022, which talks about a shift in your personal life, emotions, letting go maybe of some baggage, which is with south node, letting go of some family baggage, some family karma, completing a family cycle as well. It might be psychological, that you disconnect from something from your family that's been dragging you down, that's a repeated pattern, that's not good, or investigating something deeply in the most spiritual way about your roots as well. And it starts like a new chapter in your life by first letting go of certain connections to things from the past, from your family, understanding something from the past, and start a new chapter of what you emotionally need, of what you emotionally is important to you, of your emotional needs. And even for some of you can mean relocation, change a place of living, starting a new chapter in their family, but it might involve some kind of sacrifice, because it's with the south node, letting go of something so you can start a new chapter with family, with home, and such kind of duties, place of living. And especially Virgos that are born around 12 degrees, sun, moon, or rising, they'll feel it the strongest. 12 degrees Virgo, it's, I would say, born from around the 2nd of September to around the 8th of September, with peak on the 5th of September. They can feel this eclipse very strongly, that can change the direction of their life somehow, especially on the axis of family and home type of thing. Okay, and then we have to talk about Mercury retrograde periods, because you're ruled by Mercury. Whenever Mercury goes retrograde, You have to put extra efforts in that area of life to arrange it, to order it, to manage it better, or just use more of your skills. Then guess where Mercury goes retrograde for you 3 times this year, guys? In the houses of work, career, and money. Again, material things. I don't know. This is what you're called to do. This is what you're called to master in 2021, to really put it in order. I mean, that would be fantastic here. Starting businesses, growing businesses, starting new careers, so working on your career, working on new income, working on fixing financial issues and debt, and going after your, practical things to secure your security. Okay, great analogy. Mercury first goes retrograde in February. From January, so basically the first 20 days of February, from January the 30th to February the 20th, in your 6th house, where all this party is there with Saturn and Jupiter. So you might be, basically working on some project behind the scene, having to fix something at work. Maybe your schedule at work will change. Your routines will have to be re-examined and readdressed. You might have some surprises at work. So there is a plan to do this, but it turns, you have to quickly adapt. You have to change, because Mercury retrograde brings us surprises, teaches us to be flexible at the work environment with work responsibilities, to re-examine what is really necessary, what is priority to do there. Together, Saturn and Jupiter will help maybe make you shift your attitude towards work. If you're not in the right work, this is exactly when you can change and say, okay, that's it. I'm speaking up. I don't like this responsibility. I don't like this duty. I don't like this work environment, or I don't like this project, or so I need to speak about that, or I need to change it. You change something when Mercury is retrograde with your career, with your health, with your work, or with your health, or with a project. There might be some tensions with career, with colleagues. Things that are unsaid can come to the surface to be talked about. Or you just might need to use 3 times more skills in some work project. Or it might get delayed for this period, but, on some preparing some work project, some project, whatever, and using a lot of your intelligence, skills, knowledge, or perfecting some skill of yours. The 6th house is mastering some skills like an apprentice, so that can be more demanding, and that requires 3 times more effort and conscious concentration. And the final result can be 3 times more lasting when Mercury turns direct from the end of February, basically. And you have sorted some problem there, or have really worked very hard on some problem, project, or, work and fixed it, or might have readjusted the circumstances around your work somehow. But your daily responsibilities and duties, they also are kind of out of whack for a little bit when Mercury is retrograde. You're examining, maybe you'll change some things, maybe you're not gonna do the same things like the list you normally do. You have to rearrange, you have to be flexible there. Also, it can be about rearranging, reorganizing your space and your environment. It might be about readdressing health issues. I think from the very beginning of the year, for you Virgos, if you want to change some bad habits or really change your perspective, that's a retrograde planet, on your health or some habits or how you take care of your body, whether you start a diet, whether you quit something. This is the time to do it. When Saturn and Jupiter just enter your 6th house, Mercury goes retrograde, so January, February, this is when you can really do something so that you've never had the focus and concentration to do it. To reprogram your mind, this is Mercury, how you think, your internal dialogue about such a habit, or about such self-internal dialogue about your own health as well, and so on. And it can be about revisiting and some kind of imbalance situation as well, completing some work project from the past, revisiting some kind of conflict situation that is awakened, and you have to deal with that. You have to speak out about it. This is Mercury retrograde in the 2nd house, in the 6th house. Then Mercury goes retrograde in your 10th house. Surprise, with the that's in May 29th to June 22nd, when there is an eclipse also in your 10th house with Rahu, or we talked about. So Mercury intensifies it very strongly in this 10th house. Especially if you're Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising from 16 to 25 degrees, this Mercury retrograde can feel quite intense. 16 to 25 degrees. Virgos, what that would be, born from the 8th, 9th of September to around the 18th of September, you're going to feel this Mercury retrograde. It's going to square your ascendant, Sun, or Moon here. So this will be a very busy, important time for your career. Exactly like I said, you might rethink your career, the direction. You might find some very important information or news about your mission in life. You might have to complete some career project around that time. Maybe edit it, fix it, or have important conversations with bosses or authority figures, or with your inner authority figure, make some important decisions and surprising changes. Rethinking the direction of your mission, of your career. You might be working on some project that requires a lot of mercurial energy, 3 times more efforts on that, like writing, speaking, calculating, marketing, advertising, trade, sales of any sort, anything that uses the imagination or the mind or communication skills and your natural skills that you've acquired, acquired skills, you will be required to use 3 times more of those around this June retrograde period. Something important is happening there with authority figures, with your career, with this Mercury retrograde. There might be some surprises there, but usually if you bring out your best foot forward, you can really have great results at the end of this. And you might there is a full moon there, new moon, so something new comes in your career, but also there's something from the past that you're incorporating or working to complete or to fix as well in regards to your career. And then last but not least is Mercury retrograde in your 2nd house. It's most of October, from September 26th to October the 18th. Mercury is retrograde in your 2nd house. So September, October, you're working on finances. You're rebudgeting, reinvesting, refinancing, or maybe making a different plan for your finances, or maybe needing to use to re-examine your accounts, or maybe needing to don't take financial risks when Mercury is retrograde there. There might be certain expenses for things from the past that come up, or certain financial decisions from the past you've made that bring their results. Or that you see the results of now, or there might be some repercussions for mistakes made financially in the past that become clear now, or certain expenses based on previous actions that appear right now. But overall, I think because Mercury makes a lot of good aspects from there, I think it will have, like, you re-examining your finances, maybe looking for alternative methods of finances, maybe digging deep and learning more in depth practical information about money, about resources, about investments, how to use your skills, how to use your intelligence to manage them better. Some crisis situation might trigger into that, but the final result is that you might have acquired way more different outlook on finances, on resources, on your self-worth at the end of this. Even if there are some financial stresses at the end, usually a person might have a more stable, well-organized financial situation and more resourceful financial situation as well. Money, career, responsibilities, funny. But also I want to give you the periods Mercury is visible, because when Mercury is visible, it rules you. You'd feel in your strength, you'd be able to manifest those parts of the year best. Something tangible, materially tangible. You'll feel heard, you'll feel noticed, you can move forward ahead. Even if Mercury is retrograde at those periods, you can move forward and your actions will have an impact outside. It will be noticed. So that's perfect time when Mercury is visible to do important mercurial activities connected to your career, because Mercury rules your career, to your life, to your health. Important statements, starts businesses, launch projects, whatever it is that Mercury is all kind of business. Do it when Mercury is visible. Mercury is visible from January the 8th to January 31st in your 6th house. So things connected to your work and career, definitely, and health, that can manifest strongly. Then Mercury is visible from the 20th of February to March the 11th. Again in Aquarius, continues the same theme. Work, career, health, worldly responsibilities. But, you know, it's visible. Then it's visible from April 26th till April 27th till May 26th. So most of May, basically. Most of May is in Gemini. It's connected to your career, and it gets born in Taurus. So some opportunity to study can come to you around April, the end and the beginning of May. And then it goes, it's great for if you want to do something public, to launch a product, to start a new career when Mercury is visible, even though it will be retrograde at some point. Then is it May? Is Mercury retrograde in May? Yeah, even though it's retrograde, because it's visible, you can start things in your career, honestly. So this May 26th to 25th of Gemini, April 27th till May 26th, it's very important. You can be seen, you can be recognized in your career, do something important, mercurial with your career. And then it's visible again from July the 2nd till July the 26th in your 10th and 11th houses. You can career gain visibility plus gains and social influence. So if you have something to announce, to put to the public, or if you want more gains and earnings in business-wise, this is fantastic. July 2nd till July 26th, so most of July. And the last time, oh no, it's not the last time, then October 17th till November 16th is again visible, connected to your 6th house and 3rd house again. And then it's again visible. So these are the periods you're going to feel strong. And then December 22nd till the end of the year, Mercury is again visible. In your 5th house, it can be the birth of a new romantic relationship. It's born there in your 5th house. It can be conception of child. It can be some new hobbies and fun and entertainment, or new creative project that are conceived. All right. And now I want to go through the outer planets. Oh, Venus is in Virgo from July 23rd till August 17th. This is good period for you Virgos. You'd feel more, because Venus always helps, even though Venus is a bit weak in Virgo, but makes you feel more attractive. It can attract love to you. It can make things flow easier. It's just supportive. It's protective. So if you plan anything pleasant, enjoyable, or that you want to attract social approval, and if you want to attract the support of others, use that period, July 23rd, August the 17th, when Venus is in your sign. You're just more likable and you attract Venusian things, money more easy, admiration, pleasures, you know. And then Mars is also in your sign from August, the beginning of August till mid-September. It will really, so August till middle of September, it will really mobilize you to act, to get things done. So that's a very, very strong period for you. You might get frustrated at moments. You might get impatient, especially from the middle of August when Venus is no longer in your sign. So Mars only stays there. So you can be like more stressed and nervous, but you definitely in a no-nonsense attitude. Let's get things done fast, 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 and you can move things forward. I think, let me see if Mars becomes visible in your sign. No, this year it's not in your sign. Mars becomes visible in you. All right. And then I want to give specific degrees. Virgos born from 6 till 15 degrees in Virgo, or basically if the sun is those degrees, they're born from the 30th of August till September the 8th. August the 30th till September the 8th, till 8th of September. They have Uranus trine, the sun, moon, or ascendant. Fantastic. And it's happening from the 9th house. There will be opportunities. This is very rare. It's not going to repeat again in your life. This transits, you're going to feel it very strongly. Uranus trine your sun, moon, or ascendant brings powerful opportunities for study something. It's from the ninth house to expand your horizon. You can meet new interesting people that are foreigners or that are more educated, or they have a higher perspective from you, and they can allow you also to align yourself to a higher perspective, to be more optimistic, to see things from a more positive state of mind and more intelligent state of mind. There can be a sudden opportunity to study something abroad, to travel abroad. If you have any chance to travel abroad, to expand your horizons through study, whether it's astrology or whether it's some other subject, academic, take it. It's a unique opportunity. Anything that you can learn, it doesn't have to be with certificate or academic. It will bring some powerful opportunity for you, and you're much more open to incorporate new things into your life, new technologies, new type of people you've never met, and they don't disrupt your daily life. Travels will go fantastic. They will be so mind-opening, opportunity-wise. If it's your sun in those degrees, your career, especially career connected with Uranus, which is new technologies, online, which is connected to something alternative, but whatever your career it is, Uranus will help you integrate new things, expand it or grow it, or make it more popular. Uranus is social collective groups of people as well. Uranus can also help you really feel electrified and reach large audiences of people somehow. Expand your social marketing or social connectivity as well, and networking. Alternative ideas. Fantastic for studying occult, esoteric topics. Uranus is like that, or astrology. You can flow if you're trying to start an astrology business. Uranus trines your sun, moon, or ascendant, or anything alternative, or anything connected to networking, to marketing, to social connectivity, to anything connected to new technologies, anything connected to broadcasting, anything connected to the internet, anything connected to social media. We said that anything connected to social activism can go very well, or connected to joining certain groups of like-minded people, or connected to what is that, like we have to any business that you have to supply chain type of stuff, distribution of any sort goes great. But it's some injection into your, just a freshness, of newness, of excitability that Uranus will bring you, and things just happen with these. They flow, they happen fast, but not in a disruptive way. You feel like you can even look different. You just feel, I feel more excited. I feel more, you notice new opportunities. It's very electrifying. It's lovely. A new person can come. If it's your moon trine, you can change place of living with ease, or something with your family or home or parenthood can be very awesome. If you're on those degrees, some new things happening there, like new parenthood or new home, or or new emotional connections with Uranian people that are interesting, or something new happens in the life of your mom that's exciting. Or emotionally, if it's your sun, we talk mostly career, usually your goals, your confidence, a Uranian kind of male that is different people in your life. If it's your ascendant, everything that we talked about. And then if you are those Virgos that are born from 18 degrees till 23 degrees in Virgo, you're having Neptune opposition. So basically born from around the 11th till the 16th of September. 11th till the 16th of September, you're having Neptune transit, Neptune opposition. Now that's a bit trickier. Now that can mean a bit of a lack of motivation, or a bit of unclarity in certain areas of life. Or it's kind of, it's time to let go and let God. And it might be a bit disconcerting because Saturn and Jupiter in the 6th house want you to get organized, to get practical, but Neptune is the opposite. So this will be this push and pull. You'll have responsibilities and worldly duties and the need to get organized, but Neptune asks you to spend more time alone, go to the beach or meditate, or in extreme cases you might feel like escaping reality, getting drunk, getting lost in some private hidden affair. Sometimes people, when Neptune opposes their ascendant, especially their moon, they get drawn in some kind of impossible love affair. hidden private, even if they're married, or they get attracted to someone they want to save, or they get, someone, there are too many people that they need to save, or that they're giving them a finger and the other person takes a hand. But it can be kind of like very romantic idealization of someone, or if you're in a wrong relationship, or a relationship that is a bit stale, you can start feeling dissatisfied and looking outside and yearning for someone behind, And if you're in a relationship, sometimes it can dissolve a relationship if it's not the right one. You can discover certain secrets that you are not aware of. First, you idealize the person, and then, Neptune, within that Neptune transit is usually you discover something that is either you project it onto them, they never promise it on you, and you feel dissatisfied, or you... and it might not be just emotional relationship. It might be business partnership or a client that you get... Wow, I was really misled about this person. I really thought this about them, but look what it turns out. You can discover such things. It's very important if you're entering relationship, or if you're in one, instead of being susceptible to kind of delusions that are possible with Neptune opposition, to advise with someone, to talk it out with a counselor, advisor, or someone else who is thinking more rationally, so they can help you to see through that person. It might be even someone that promises you something, or cons you, or misleads you. Be careful. Also, I advise you, don't mislead or con others with this position. You might just want to string on someone and lead them on because you don't want to be single, but you don't want to, you're not fully in love, but you don't want to be single, and you do this to someone, and when Neptune is around, and you create the karma for someone else to do this to you. Or there might be sometimes situation where you're craving or yearning for someone that you cannot be with, or they're involved with someone else. Sometimes such things happen around Neptune. A positive manifestation of Neptune is that it spiritualizes you. If you're in any career that is healing, helping, medicine, spirituality, music, artistic, creative, imaginative careers, they can go very well. It's despite the opposition, like I've seen people in film stars and stuff make it big when Neptune makes hard aspect to their sun. Any Neptunian career, healing, medicine stuff, that can be good. That can be quite powerful. But also it can mean falling in love like a child. Honestly, falling in love like so romantically, if it's your ascendant in particular in those degrees, even the moon, the sun as well. But it's someone usually that is more Neptunian in nature. Okay, this is the very highest manifestation. If it's not someone who can mislead you, it's someone that is like, wow, my soulmate. You might idealize them, and sometimes that's what needed for Virgos, to idealize, because they have too many, check marks, what I want, like from a partner, or what I don't want. So sometimes they need to kind of get blind in love type of thing, and idealized type of version. It's just make sure that you're aware of the, because you might sometimes attract someone who likes to drink or smoke, who have some addictions or some secretive vices that are hidden. But the highest manifestation is someone Neptunian, a fisherman, a doctor, a healer, a foreigner from abroad, someone who is a Neptunian of some sort, musician, So that's okay. If you meet such a person, then very likely it's the higher manifestation of Neptune. Might be really like a soulmate, but there's definitely a feeling like, wow, emotionally, I feel connected. Even though you don't believe in such bullshit like Virgo, you're practical. Some of you, if you're born in those degrees, you might be like, wow, I think our souls are talking to each other type of thing. I wish you all that you have the higher manifestation of Neptune. Some good remedies: go swim, spend more time alone, listen to good music, more gentle music, classical music, meditation, some spiritual things, maybe join a group of spiritual people to talk about spiritual things as well. You might find it hard to say no to people. You might find it hard to say no to... if you are those degrees, you have to learn to kind of put boundaries a little bit, because Neptune makes you like become boundaryless without like anything goes. I think maybe Saturn and Jupiter from the 6th house will help. Okay, and then the last group of Virgos, Pluto is trining them. 24 degrees of Virgo till 27 degrees in Virgo. So those born from the 17th of September till the 20th of September, they're having really empowering time with Pluto. 24 till 27. Pluto tells them you can do anything, and it's a trine. Pluto tells them you can really basically take over the world and use something you've never had the willpower for. And Pluto just increases the willpower and aligns your will with the divine will. Pluto is divine willpower. It's almost like by force, but you want it as well. You're aligned to the divine willpower, so you can achieve something great in your career, or especially careers that are connected to healing again, to transformation, spirituality, psychology, the occult, power, any positions of power. You can receive more power. Any career changes, if it's your sun in those degrees, will be very empowering. We will put you in a position of more power, and more influence. And you can attract males that are plutonic of nature, for example, powerful, strong, very deep sexual connection, very intense, like I want to own you, possess you, but it's not disruptive. It's intense, but it's not disruptive because it's a good aspect. Or if it's your moon, there are also relationships are possible, some intense woman or some big positive transformation with your home and family as a parent, in your personal life, something empowering, some more control over your feelings and emotions, taking back your power emotionally from someone, moving to a place that you feel more connected to as well, and emotional connections as well. If it's your ascendant, all of those things is from the 5th house. It might be a romantic relationships if it's your ascendant 24 till 27, maybe a degree plus minus. That romantic relationship that is extremely intense, sexual, deep, transformational, a bit some power struggles likely, but it feels right. It's not like you're just wishing, dreaming for them, but nothing is happening. No, it's involved, it's intense, it's transformation. Also transformation through a child or through a new hobby, big empowerment through a child or through a new hobby, a new romantic relationship, or reinvigoration of your love life romantically, or reinvigoration of your excitement for life. Pluto, not excitement, it's like intensity for life, deep feelings that you feel for it, control of the creative flow as well. So a lot of interesting things, guys, a lot. Those trines, a lot of support from Uranus, from Pluto. Neptune can mess up with some of you, but it can also manifest in the higher level. So what an eventful year. Thank you so much. And I look forward to see you next year. Write your comments, what you see below throughout the year. Watch this video, come back to us, say, oh, I'm this degree, say maybe your ascendant is a 25 degree Virgo and Pluto is trining your ascendant, and you manage to take control of your weight, and you manage, the ascendant is the physical body, Pluto is control from the 5th house through a favorite sport, or maybe you fell in love deeply, or maybe there was some transformation in your life and empowering. Write to us what you see so others can listen from you and see what they can expect too. I love you.